File transfer complete.
This is the Main Street of America with Arizona podcast. Stories about the people, places, and events found along the Mother Road in the Grand Canyon State.
For more information on our podcasts, visit ArizonaPodcast.com. Here are your hosts, Chris and Mary.
And welcome to Conversation and Coffee from the Main Street of America. My name is Chris, along with my bride, Mary. We are celebrating the Main Street of America in the city of Kingman. We're at Calico's restaurant once again on West Beale, just off Route 66, mile marker number 70. We want to thank you for taking the time to watch the vodcast on our YouTube channel, or if you're listening to us via podcast, thank you for taking the time to download it. We do appreciate it. Once again, wanted to share that we have very social people. You'll find us on most of the outlets except for Twitter or X or whatever you call it. You'll find us everywhere else with the handle of Arizona Podcast. And we're now on Blue Sky Social in addition to Facebook, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, and YouTube. So first, let's get some up-to-date news, shall we? And before we do everything and anything, updating you on what's happening in 2025. Not only do we have Arizona Route 66, the podcast, we're also starting a new project which you might find kind of interesting, simply called Just Off Route 66. One of our first shows will be spotlighting the awesome little camping town of Chloride, Arizona. And one of our guests today, Cassi Hammond from the Chloride Chamber of Commerce, will be giving us some information on that. Also, good friend Jim Hinckley from Jim Hinckley's America has an invite as always. From the Kingman Main Street, we're going to talk with Ferry. Got some updates of what's happening with the Hotel Beale. Some exciting news happening there downtown. Micah Spenser from Cella Winery. We have Mike Goodwin from Pharaohs Car Club. Some updates on some future shows and car meets and what they'll be doing in their philanthropic efforts for our community. We'll also get on the phone and talk to Kenneth Large from Roy's Motel and Cafe in Amboy. They've got a big event coming up March 1st. Mary and I are going to try to make it out there. We'll get some video screens on that as well. And we do have a few other invites out for those here in the city of Kingman. On just one more note, we've thrown away the whole advertising and sponsorships. We're just done knocking on doors and bugging people for money. That doesn't mean we don't want it. So what we've done is we've created a page on ArizonaPodcast.com. Simply says, support Arizona Podcast. It'll lead you to 3 ways to help donate. We have gift cards for Amazon to help us buy our little doohickeys and knickknacks and all the things you need to run a vodcast and podcast. We also like little electronic pieces. So we have a gift card link to Sweetwater Electronics. And of course, if you'd like to buy us a cup of coffee, Mary and I will never turn that down, and you can help donate by Venmo. You'll find that on ArizonaPodcast.com. Again, for those that don't know, Arizona Route 66 runs exactly 385.2 miles border to border, and Arizona has the honor of having the longest continuous stretch of Route 66 in the nation, which is 158 miles running from Ash Fork to the California state line. And as I mentioned earlier, we are very proud to be having a little fun here at Calico's as we take part at mile marker number 70 of such said location. Joining me today is Cassi Hammond. She is you have like this laundry list of things that you've done and accomplished and all the things that you plan on doing. But how about we just say you're the vice president of the Chamber of Commerce of Chloride, which is not yet a city. It's unincorporated.
It is unincorporated, that is true.
And we're not going to call it a mining camp. But what do you officially call Chloride?
So Chloride is a town site.
It's a town site.
Yes.
And at one time, one of the largest, it was one of the, can we say probably one of the first mining towns in there? I mean, you have like these records. It's like the first church, the first post office.
Well, it dates back to the 1860s, and I'll save all the information because I know we do want to do a show in Chloride, and so I'll save some of the information. But it dates back to the 1860s, and it is the oldest continuously operating mining town in the state of Arizona. We have the oldest continuously operating church and post office in the state of Arizona, and we are the home of the very first volunteer fire department in the state of Arizona.
Told you wear way too many hats. So
That's not me. I didn't do any of that.
It's an amazing little thing. As I've talked about just off Route 66, I always want to point out to people, and I apologize for this. My first taste of Route 66, summer of 1969, I saw Arizona border to border from the back seat of a 1964 Chevy Bel Air station wagon, and I found Arizona to be Disneyland. I mean, coming from Ohio, we took the whole route all the way to Los Angeles. But I found Arizona to have everything.
Right.
And it had, meteor crater, painted forest, the, what do we have, the petrified forest, the painted desert.
The Grand
Canyon. It's this endless loop of exciting things to see and do. But I always tell the story of my grandchildren in the back seat of my truck. And normally when I say, hey, let's go see the second largest big ball of twine, you don't get the him and the haws and the, oh, gee, do we have to? You can literally hear their eyes roll.
Right.
I like going to these places at least once. I mean, have you been to Giganticus Heticus?
I have.
Once.
Yes.
You've done it once.
Yeah.
So I invite people, this is what you're going to find on Route 66.
Yep.
These are the things that people need to stop in and see at least once.
Right.
Whatever it is, and especially with the Centennial right around the corner.
Right.
So with that said, if you're going to go to Hoover Dam, which is just about 100 miles north of where we are in Kingman,
right.
And people are going to take that drive about an hour and a half. They're going to spend a couple of hours at Hoover Dam and then drive back to Kingman and the Mother Road. But right along that strip is Chloride, which has these first. First post office, first church, first everything. And it's a cute little town.
It is.
Express more. When did it begin again?
So the 1863 is, there's no official records, but 1863 is the year that we're going with. And that's where most of our information points to. And it's just a very quaint little quiet town. We like to call it quirky. You'll find all kinds of people in Chloride, and it's hard to explain Chloride until you come there, until you just experience it.
Quirky works, though. I like quirky.
It does.
And now, it began with so many people, but you're just a couple hundred people strong, correct?
Right. So at the height of its population, it was about 2,500 people, and now we're down to around 250. A lot of snowbirds, so there's people that come and go, but around 250 is the current guess.
So when I did a little bit more research on Chloride, and now I've attended a few of the chamber mixers, and I've met the president of the Chamber of Commerce, and I got to learn a little bit more about the town of Chloride. What I found interesting, they use the same terminology. They said quirky.
Yes.
They said it's unique. It's very artsy. Now, when I was speaking with them last summer, they were talking about an art show that was going to come up. I understand that didn't happen. But is that still in the plans to get people to come out, and especially with the Centennial? And I know you're not right on Route 66.
Right.
Everybody's really excited about that 100-year anniversary, and we know millions are going to travel the highway. What is it that's going to draw people to Chloride?
Well, the art festival did not happen. It was a little hard to get some vendors to go all the way to Chloride, and that's what we hear from people.
It's not that far away.
It's 18 miles north of Kingman, but we hear that from people in Kingman predominantly, all the way to Chloride.
All the way to Chloride.
Yeah. So but we do have an event coming up March 15th. The Saturday before St. Patrick's Day. Every year we have a parade in town. We have our St. Patrick's Day parade, annual parade, and I believe it's been going on for 40 some odd years.
Right.
And so
now, when you say there's a big parade in Chloride, when you say big, give your definition of big.
Chloride's only 1 square mile, so there's not much big in Chloride.
Right.
But it's a big day for us. And so, the town will at least double in size for the day, and we'll have vendors on the streets, and so we will get some vendors there, and the restaurant will completely pack out.
Right.
But we do have raffles that we do, so there'll be raffle prizes, and it's just a fun day to hang out on the streets in Chloride and see some interesting vehicles go by. We'll have car shows that come through and stuff.
Now, again, did you say the date, or can you repeat?
March 15th.
March 15th.
Right. We start with our bake sale at 8 o'clock in the morning, and the town bakers they have some amazing stuff. That sells out pretty quick, so you got to get there for the bake sale if you want that. And then hang out in the town, and the parade starts at noon. And after that, then you can go over to the town hall, and that's where we have the prizes for the parade. We do award prizes, and then there will be the raffle.
Wonderful. I can't wait to find out more. Now, if people want more information, you have multiple websites.
We do.
I do the best research that I can. So what is the best website to get the best information?
So for the town, the best website for the Chamber of Commerce is visitchlorideaz.com.
Okay, and that'll also lead you to the multiple other websites that are happening?
The other website is chlorideaz.com, and there is some information and some history on that as well. But that one is actually owned and operated by the restaurant in town.
Wonderful. Let's see, if I have all my little buttons pushed in the right direction, I wanted to make sure that introduce you to Micah, who is our next guest as we celebrate a little time here in the city of Kingman. Thank you for being.
You're very welcome.
Thank you for coming all the way.
all the way from
all
Chloride.
the way from Chloride. All 15 miles.
I know, it's a trek.
I know. You have to go through all the construction. You have to go through downtown.
Yeah, we'll be very happy when the construction's done.
That's going to be amazing to get more people into that
Yes,
thing.
it will. It will help a lot.
But thank you for coming
and
by.
We look forward to the future podcast where you come to Chloride and we tell the whole history of Chloride.
We get to hang out with you and find out some interesting things.
Yeah, I'll tell you all of it. It's quite a story.
I look forward to it.
Quite a story.
Cassi Hammond, Vice President, Chamber of Commerce for the town, soon-to-be city.
Oh, no, we'll never be incorporated.
No,
I'll tell you that history, too.
I can't wait. And that'll be, you're probably going to be our first just
great.
off Route 66 podcast.
That's amazing.
So we can't wait. And we'll share more. And again, with the Centennial coming up, we'll get people to come out and visit all the way to Chloride.
All the way to Chloride.
You should get T-shirts that say that, all the way in Chloride.
Drove that whole 18 miles.
Wonderful. Again, thank you for coming.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much for having me.
You bet. Micah, it is good to finally share some time with you and to make sure that we turn off her mic and turn on your mic so everybody's on the same page and everybody knows what's going on. Again, it's been a pleasure. We have been talking via social media and emails for probably a year and a half.
Probably a year, yeah.
Yeah, and finally I was glad to make this happen, at least this one. And we'd still like to come out and do a podcast. I know that you have a huge festival. You had invited us out to come out of that in the say the word again, Meadery Winery. Yeah. So there was this big thing going on with tons.
So the Grape Stomp, we have that in September. That's already done. Then so in March, we'll be at the Camp Verde Pecan and Wine Fest, which is in the Prescott and Sedona area.
Right.
And then in April, we're going to have another big event at our place. Don't have a date yet. Everybody needs to keep their eyes out. Oh, yeah. It's going to be a big new announcement.
So let's give the history for those that don't know. And again, we're talking to the people that are going to travel Route 66. Of course, the big centennial coming up in 2026. The history. Tell me, when I say there's a winery in Arizona, I get people give me that look. Like, a winery in the desert?
We get that all the time at festivals, too.
Isn't that crazy? And yet you are multi-award winning with the wines that you have.
So the only way to get to us, you have to go down 66, either from Seligman or Kingman.
Right.
It's the only way to get there. And then we're in the back of a neighborhood called Valley Vista. The vines were planted in 2007.
Right.
So they're 18 years old. The winery's been there since 2012. And then my wife and I bought it in 2020 during COVID.
Ah.
So we moved out here from Texas and took over the winery.
And quite successfully, if I can throw that in there. You've done well.
Yeah, so the last 3 years we've been voted Best of Kingman for Best Winery, which is great because that's voted by the people.
So here's interesting. When I say that when people are surprised that there's a winery in the desert.
There's multiple.
There's multiple wineries in the desert. So it's not like you won by default.
Right.
I mean, you had other wineries in the area.
Well, and then not only that, but there's about 100 in the state of Arizona.
Oh.
So, you know, just like you said, there's not only 10 or 5, there's about 100. And we actually just won 2 medals in the San Francisco Chronicle wine competition for this year, which is the largest in North America.
And if I don't know if you had said, how many awards have you won?
Oh, I don't know. That's probably 6 medals through the San Francisco Chronicle and the Arizona Governor's Cup.
Wow. And there's got to be a reason why. So what is the specialty wine? If someone is traveling Route 66 and says, okay, I'm going to try this winery, what is it that's going to draw them in the door?
We primarily grow a lot of reds just due to the area that we're in.
Right.
I would say probably Malbec.
Oh.
So we actually have the oldest Malbec vines in the state as far as we know. And that was one of the medal winners in San Francisco. It was the only medal winner from Arizona there.
Arizona?
For Malbec.
Wow. So that's something to be proud of.
Yeah.
And now, I guess what I learned being from the Temecula wine country area, everybody's got wine tasting. Everyone has a wine club. Is this what we'll also find here? So when the visitors come to Cella Winery, they'll be able to taste the wines that you have and experience the winners. And can they join the club? What is that all about?
Yeah, we have a tasting room and a wine club. Wine club, we just require 12 bottles a year. That can be anything that you like. We lived a couple years in California too.
Oh, yeah?
So I know how the clubs work, and they force
Right.
shipments that may be something you don't want. We don't do that.
Oh, I understand. Now, things have changed. Before, we couldn't drink alcohol on television. There were all these things, and things have kind of loosened up a little. Is wine, are you able to mail wine through the U.S. without a problem?
Depends.
Yeah,
So
there are
we
some
ship
state
to about
restrictions?
40 states.
Right.
One state I don't think we'll ever be able to ship to is Utah.
Right. Well,
That's explainable,
Yeah,
self-explainable.
let's just say Utah.
But we do ship, California, Arizona, Nevada, and then the majority of states.
Gotcha. I can't wait to see what's going to happen and what the next award will be.
But as you said, Temecula, when people initially say, oh, but it's so hot.
No.
But we're at 3,500 feet.
Right.
And that's all the difference that you need, because we're actually colder than Temecula, Paso, and the whole San Joaquin Valley.
I remembered my wife and I are chaplains, so we did a ton of weddings in Temecula Valley, and especially at the wineries. And people say, oh, it's just too darn hot. You don't want to have a wedding there, and you wait until sunset. And that's where we both learned more about wine growing and what the grapes need in order to make it work. I found it so exciting to find you need that elevation, number one, but you need the heat during the day, and then you need that insta-cool at night.
Right.
Just to make sure the grapes grow and do what they do. So I'd always explain, when sunset comes around, the winds come in, and things start cooling down. So that is a big thing to do with it.
Well, as you said, there's a difference between here and, let's say, Lake Havasu.
Right.
So if they're hot during the day, at night they're still 100.
Right, and here at that elevation.
Here at night we're 72 to 75, even if it's 100 during the day, which is what's needed for a good growing season. And even though it doesn't rain much, grapes use less water than the majority of all agriculture.
Right,
and that's what you should be growing in a desert area or arid region.
And they're pretty much self-sufficient.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that kind of makes things work a little bit better. If you were to tease a little bit more, you said you have some big, exciting news that you're going to release in April. A little bit more of a tease. What is it? What's coming up in April of 25 that's going to get us?
So when we moved out here, we bought it as Cella Winery.
Uh-huh.
It may not be by that name anymore.
Gotcha. So that's a good tease. So now we want to know more. So we'll have to keep an eye on the website.
Yeah.
Anything else you'd like to share with us? And again, I can't thank you enough for coming all the way from Cella Winery.
It's about the same distance from here to our place as it is from here to Chloride.
Yeah, no,
just the other direction.
We
of the mountains.
actually, Mary and I were just at the caverns, Grand Canyon Caverns. So going Route 66 in the evening, and it was bitter cold a couple of weeks ago in the evening. And then when we got down here into the valley, things started warming up. So you can see what that elevation has to do.
Yeah, just as you said, from Seligman to here.
Right.
You're going down 5,200 to 3,400.
Correct.
And it's a big change.
So we did go by. We waved at the winery as we drove by, and I said, you know what? I got to invite Mike onto the show. So that was kind of the incentive. Mike, I can't thank you enough. Website address people can go to?
CellaWinery.com, CELLA winery.com. Then, like you said about the podcast, we're also on Facebook, Instagram, and all of those.
I can't wait. Your social media, you guys stay on top of that all the time, and that's kind of fun. 2 or 3 posts a day, if I remember. We
try. It's been a little slower lately, but we try.
Well, it's that type of the season. So, and when you have multiple social media, and you don't want to spend the money on one of those directors that will ship things around.
The social media is us. The making of the wine's us. The harvest is us.
Mary and I are us. Yeah, Mary and I do our own social media. So I'm going to invite our other guests to join us at the table. I see Smiley over there, so we'll bring Smiley in if he has. Bring him over to the table. Micah, again, the website address is CellaWinery.com. Can't miss it. Social media, we got you there as well. I can't thank you enough for finally taking time to shake hands and learn more about what's happening with you, the winery. Blessings to you and your family, your daughter, her recovery. That is just everything.
She's doing well, which, I think that's when we first started talking with one another, was when all that was going on.
It was, yeah. And you were running crazy, and then you were back and forth to the hospital and taking care of that. So blessings
she's good
to you.
now.
That's all we needed to hear. Thank you again for joining us, and have a safe trip back to the winery.
Thank you.
We greatly appreciate it. Next guest, I take it is not going to be Mike Goodwin, so that's okay. Let's make sure that we do it. Smiley, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. Mike had something come up, so he asked me to set in for him.
That's not a problem at all. I love having you here and learning more and more about. I need to just kind of move something. There we go. I wanted to make sure I shook your hands at the last car show in Bullhead City, and you gave me that look like, who the heck are you? And I think it dawned on you right when you were walking away. So I just want to say that was me. That was me tapping you on the shoulder. So it was good to see you there, and it's good to see you here. I wanted to invite Pharaohs to talk about the car. There are multiple car clubs in Arizona. And I think the big draw is the car clubs love to cruise old Route 66.
They do. And we started this division of the Pharaohs, the Arizona Pharaohs, 2019 with Mike and I and 2 other guys.
Right.
And now we're up to 850 plus statewide.
Oh, no kidding. And Pharaohs is a huge group. So, I mean, to be a part of that and then represent the state of Arizona.
Yes. And the Arizona club is actually the largest club in the United States.
And in this, again, what year did you?
2019.
That's amazing. Just in the last 5 years.
Well,
6 years.
Part of it was at the time that we started the Pharaohs, most of the car clubs in this area were aging out and nobody would take them over.
Right.
And it just coincided with the time that we did the startup. And the way we built our club actually was Mike and Lisa have Cars and Coffee every Friday morning.
Right.
And we invited anybody that was a car enthusiast. Didn't matter club, affiliation, we didn't care.
Right.
And we still don't. You can join as many clubs as you want. Our club is has a different set of rules than most clubs. We have a one-time fee, lifetime fee.
Right.
And if you join, your wife's automatically a member.
Oh, look at you guys.
And
Make it all inclusive.
yeah, and it just, it's like a big family. And the Cars and Coffee, everybody got to know each other. They would come a few times and then they would join.
Now, I know you guys have a lot of runs, and I know that you're very active in the community. And when I was talking with Mike Goodwin, who is the president of
He is the
the
president
group,
of that.
that was the one thing that attracted me to Pharaohs, and that's your outreach to the community. Can you share with us what is it you do for the community, and do you have any, and you can say it, I know you can, do you have a pet project that every year you really look forward to doing?
Well, we've done so many different things, and in 2020, it was all about the first responders.
Right.
And our biggest event that year, all the money went to the first responders.
Oh, gotcha.
But we do a lot with the different canine groups, and we also support the county shelter. We've done a couple of charity events up at the Wilds,
Right.
because a lot of the people in our club are just animal lovers,
Right.
period. So a lot of our money does go to the animals.
The animals.
And we're a 501c3, so we maintain a treasury, but the rest of it's all some charity, one form or another. During 2020, we did a couple cruises up to Lilo's because they were hurting.
Right.
We had our whole club meet there, and we have.
And when you say your whole club, how many?
Well, usually, I'd say on an average cruise, we'll get 45 to 50 people.
Oh, see, that's
And
fun.
The whole club never gets together because there's so many of us and we're spread across the state.
And at the last club the last show you just did in Bullhead City.
Yeah.
One of the things that I noticed was not all people, but all cars were welcome.
Yes, that's the difference with the Arizona Pharaohs. There's a lot of the Pharaohs groups that only allow 74 and older, and no
And then
foreign cars.
And they kind of consider that 74 dictates classic.
Yeah, and we're a little different because we know that the newer cars are going to be classics.
Right.
And we have guys that have both.
Oh, yeah.
Old cars and new cars.
And the newest.
And we didn't want to preclude those cars from belonging to the club.
Wonderful. Mary, if you have like 20 seconds to come over and join us, I'm going to put you on the show. Mary and I are happy and very proud to brag. Her late husband's father was a collector of automobiles. I want to turn on Mary's mic here. He's an NHR Hall of Famer. He had multiple cars, and she's the one that's going to know the years better than I'm going to know the years that he was very proud of. So, Dad, you're on camera, so when you make the face, everybody knows you're going, oh, I have to guess that one.
He had two, probably the crowning jewel were his two Hollywood Grands. He had, he'd done one to specs, one to original, and then he kind of pieced one together and kind of put a 350 Chevy big block into the second one.
But he had one of the last Hudson pickup trucks that weren't turned into bomb casings in World War II. I think there's only like 28 left in the world, and he had one of those.
And the neat fun thing about that was that I actually, my late husband and I owned a 1952 Mustang scooter. I don't know if you're familiar. So
Mustang motorcycles.
Made by Pony.
Yeah.
And we'd put that in the back of that the Hudson truck and take it to car shows, and they were just adorable together. The Hudson, the flatbed was kind of a more rare sort of a find. And what I understood from Dad was that it's because those parts were scrapped, and they were all scrapped for the war effort.
Yeah.
So it was hard to find.
So we're old car club fans. I mean, we never took cars ourselves. We did take part with the Mustang motorcycle and
We
won
took
an
the
award.
Kaiser out. Remember the
Yeah.
Silver Bullet? We'd do family runs.
So it's so kind of interesting that everybody knows somebody with a classic car or really enjoys going to a car show. So I knew Mary would have the names right off the top of her head, and I wouldn't have to worry about it.
They're such family events.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
And the Mustang motorcycles, they had a meet here in town.
Oh, did they?
What, a couple of years ago?
Yeah.
At the Beale Center.
Oh,
Beale
that's something.
Celebrations. That building was full of.
Boy, if they do that again, I've still got it.
Yeah,
Well,
we should keep an eye on
it's
that.
actually papered to my grandson now, but I've still got it. We
Yeah.
can bring it and
We,
show
we
it.
told everybody it's a half a Harley.
I know what it is. I went through and looked at them. I had never really seen them, and we were at Mr. D's
Right.
for breakfast on a Saturday morning, and 3 of them came in. And when they came in, I said, "What are you?
What is
what are
that?"
you doing?" They said, "We're in town for a show. You need to come over to Beale Celebration."
Yeah. They're
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a big group as well. And like
Yeah.
you said, they're all family events. Thank you, Mary. I know you do that. You can invite Jim over if you want.
I will do that.
Thanks. I can't thank you guys enough for coming out. It was so fun to see you and Mike at the show in Bullhead City. Can you share with us, for those that are going to tune in or on the YouTube channel, watch the video, what are the big ones coming up this summer that people can keep an eye out? And is there a website we can send them to?
Well, there is a website, the Arizona Pharaohs, and we're actually the biggest show that's coming up is the one in Yuma, and it's not our show.
Right.
But there's a big Pharaohs participation in it. But we have a large contingent in Yuma.
So that would also be for when you're saying all of Arizona, or
Yeah,
is
it's
that,
for
or is
actually
that
it draws
multi-state?
from 3 or 4 states.
Gotcha. So you'll have guys from California come out to the Yuma show.
And but that one is I forget the name of the group that does it, but it's
Right.
their main event every year, and you have to get in early or you can't get a spot.
Right.
And it's actually on the baseball fields at Yuma where the teams practice for spring practice.
Gotcha. And
It's after spring practice is over, they do the car show and then they redo the fields.
and it's big enough to hold all the cars.
It holds, yeah, there's several hundred cars.
I was going to say that's probably a big turnout. And what is the website address people can tune in and get the information from? Do you have it off the top of your head?
It's Arizona Pharaohs. but-
Okay. If not, I'm going to share it on the website. So don't.
Okay.
As we wrap up the show, I wanted to make sure, and then we'll make sure that it's scrolling on the bottom of the screen as well. So that'll make things happen. Smiley, thanks so much for representing. Give our best to Mike Goodwin. It was a
will.
pleasure to meet with him. And for those, if I push all the right buttons here and make things happen, Jim Hinckley, Jim Hinckley's America, open invitation always to sit here and join us. How are you, sir?
Smiley. Hey, I'd have to be dead a week for it to get better than this.
Is that always have a quick line to share? What is, before we go into Jim Hinckley knows everything and knows everybody, you need to share a few big things that I have noticed. You recently got tagged, something I hope to achieve one day, being an authority as part of the centennial celebration. So you were just recognized not too long ago, about a month ago. Would you explain that?
Yeah, Coffee with Jim, our weekly live stream podcast, was just received official certification as a Route 66 Centennial program. And I was kind of honored by that. I think it's pretty
Well,
neat.
that's you're a very humble man. Come on. To get recognized for the work that you do and the understanding of the Centennial and the Mother Road, that's kind of a thing.
It is, but this has never been a Jim show. It's a team effort.
Right.
Our whole idea is to inspire road trips by telling people where to go and sharing America's story. And that's the whole concept, is to get people excited about what we've got going on.
Yeah, I was talking with Cassi Hammond from the town of Chloride,
Yes.
and explaining. I said, "Well, Jim Hinckley might show up." We gave him an open invitation. She had no idea who you are, and then I explained the autograph books out in the lobby here at Calico's Restaurant on Beale Street, and the bronze statue down the street in front of the train station. And I'm proud as hell to know you and to be able to sit down and have coffee with you. And we try to get together at least once a month and have breakfast and just chat about the good old days and whine about the society in general. But
Now I'm going to have to get a bigger hat.
yeah, you're just fine. So tell me what else is going on in your world.
Oh, I had a pretty good meeting this morning with a representative from one of the Model A Ford Club of America chapters.
Uh-huh.
And got some stuff cooking for the Centennial. They want to see if they can create a Model A, Model T Route 66 cruise from end to end.
Now, for those that don't know, and I'll put you on the spot here, that's kind of like can I say it? It's kind of a dream for you. You'd like to travel the Mother Road in a Model A or Model T.
Yeah, I don't have enough sense to know better. And, my mom said I was born 90 and I never seemed to get any older.
Yeah, well, you're doing the reverse of that thing,
So-
where Jonathan Winters said you were
Yeah.
born as a baby and then you get older as you get younger.
But the Model A Ford's always intrigued me. I've always had older vehicles, most all my life.
Right.
My wife and I were married probably 20-some years before I ever owned a pickup truck that was manufactured after I was born. And I've had Model Ts. The oldest I've ever had was a 1915 Dodge. And Model A's have always fascinated me. They're just probably one of the best vehicles ever made. And I think it'd be great. That's as close to time travel as we can get. To find a road like Route 66 and get a bone stock old vehicle. It doesn't matter if a 1950 Hudson or a Model A Ford.
Right.
When you travel in a stock old vehicle on something like Route 66, that's as close to time travel as you're going to get. And, driving through Amboy in the summer, 120 degrees with no air conditioning, and God bless, it's time travel.
And speaking of Amboy, I'm hoping if I push all my buttons right in a few moments here, we're going to have Kenneth Large is going to join us from Roy's Motel and Cafe. A lot of things happening there, and then again having Smiley here with Pharaohs, talking about all the big car things that are happening now. Not only do we have great car shows coming up this year, but a lot of people are focused on 2026. Now, I was doing an interview with the folks out at Grand Canyon Caverns, and one of the things we talked about, I spoke of you again highly. You owe me $1.50, by the way. I mentioned your name 7 times, so that's worth the $1.50, $1.25, somewhere around.
$1.75,
Okay.
somewhere in there.
So I said some nice things about you, and one of the things that you and I both agree on, 2026 is this huge birthday party. And for a year, I'm really hoping we get a couple of million people to drive up and down Route 66 and enjoy the Mother Road. But I don't want that to be it. I'm hoping that it opens the door. And you have the same vision. Let this not be just a one-time celebration. Let this be an opening for people to understand what the Mother Road culture is about and come see us after 2026.
2026 is year 1 of the countdown to the bicentennial of Route 66. And that's the way I'm, looking at it. It's the countdown to the bicentennial.
Right.
200. The other thing about 2026, of course, is the 250th anniversary of the United States. And what better place to celebrate America than on the main street of America?
Good call. Good call. It's one of those things where I was kind of hoping we would have Ken on the phone. It doesn't look like that's working, but we're not going to worry about it. I'm really hoping that we get more in 2027. There's a lot of people that might be like me. The parking's going to be horrible and traffic's going to be horrible. So let's go see those things in 27. That might be of interest to some people as well. So it opens the door to seeing things, and I think that's what the Just Off Route 66 podcast will be about, is like there's actually more to Route 66 There's things to see. There's people to talk to. There are events going on. Having Cassi on, she'll be one of the first on that podcast that we talk about. People traveling off Route 66 to see the big things. They want to see the Grand Canyon. They want to see the Hoover Dam. There's so much of Prescott Valley. There's Sedona. Who doesn't want to go see Bell Mountain? I mean, it's just if you're in town. And I came up with an analogy to someone the other day, and I said, when Mary and I went to Scotland many times, I was fortunate enough to be the chaplain for my clan, and we would go back to Scotland for our annual meetings. And it was one of those moments where I said, when we come home, let's take that flight, because you have to fly local before international in a lot of cases. So we fly from Edinburgh to London, and then London home. Let's spend a night in London and see London. When's the next time we're going to be here? So let's go see that. Then we brought up the analogy of, if you're going to go to Greece, why don't you do a layover at Charles de Gaulle and see the Eiffel Tower? Because you weren't planning on going, but are you going to be able to do that? I use that analogy for Arizona Route 66. If you're here, go see something that's off the beaten path. Find something where, and again, Chloride was a city that you're going to have to pass it to get to Hoover Dam. Go spend an hour and see the oldest post office or the biggest ball of twine and say that you've done it. And I bring up the Giganticus Heticus. You know, I've traveled Route 66 literally hundreds of times, and I've been there once. I could say I've been there. So I invite people to do that. Anything special in Arizona Route 66 that you would say you have to go see?
First, we want to address, you might want to preface that when you say that you were the chaplain of your clan.
Right.
Because it could be taken wrong.
I know. Trust me.
But, see, this is the way it was always promoted in the past. The U.S. Highway 66 Association that was established in the spring of 1927, they realized the importance of tourism. That was one of the primary things to get the road paved and promoted. So if you look at the old billboards they put up, they advertised Sedona, they advertised the Grand Canyon, they advertised taking Highway 466 from Kingman to see the Hoover Dam. They didn't mind doing this, and we've got some of the great attractions. 12 miles from where we're sitting today, you got the pine-forested oasis of the Wallapai Mountain Park.
Right.
We've got the only road where you can drive to the bottom of the Grand Canyon out of Peach Springs, Arizona.
Right.
And these are
But a lot of people don't know this.
No, they don't.
That's what the just off Route 66 is about.
These things. The Chevelon Canyon Bridge.
I love that bridge. A lot of people, they spend so much money on redoing the bridge, and people go, why and where is it?
I'm glad they did spend money and restore that bridge.
Right.
But I'm one of the people that go, why?
Why, yeah. But maybe somebody like us sat down one day and said, we need to make that loop. You leave Winslow, head towards Hallbrook, go see what's happening there, and then make that loop through Chevron Canyon, and then make your way back up to Winslow.
It's just amazing the state spent so much money on that old bridge when we've got places now where you don't have to get off I-40 to see the Grand Canyon because they are potholes.
Right.
But,
Boom. I know I have a sound effect here somewhere.
But, there's just so many things to see and do. And
people to meet.
Well, here in Kingman, we've got these miles and miles. We've got one of the best mountain biking and hiking urban trail systems in the state of Arizona.
Right. And what's interesting is the mountain biking and trail associations call me and say, what do you recommend? And then I send them to you, but there are so many to see. And then I believe it was Josh with the Visitor Center told me about the trail with the ruts in the rock from the wagon wheels as people made their way here.
Stockton Hill Road.
And it's like 2 blocks from where we're sitting. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just amazing what we're going to find and the people that you can meet.
That's the key, the people. If you really want to experience the magic of Route 66, it's the people.
It is the people.
Take your time and talk to folks.
And speaking of taking the time to talk to folks, if I switch this button over here, it gets a little louder in the room, but it's one of my best of friends and Insta friends. Sarah, how are you?
Hello, it's so good to see you again.
You represent so much here. I watch you on social media. I feel like a voyeur. Is that the right word you would use for people that? What's the word that they use? A troll. That's what they use. Where people
You are not a troll.
The trolls on social media. So I keep an eye on you and what you're doing. The business you work for is, I'm going to say it right, west of 3rd?
Yes.
I did it right. I think I made you north of 2nd last time we were on the air. And
I
then,
think I tripped you up a little on that one.
Is that what, and then you also are a big part of the Kingman downtown. What is the official name?
Kingman Main Street.
Kingman Main Street,
Yeah.
which for those that don't know, Main Street runs parallel with Route 66, one block. And I just kind of incorporate Beale, Main Street, and Route 66 here. I researched this, Jim, so you have to tell me whether it's right or wrong. Kingman is mile marker 70 on Route 66, correct?
Depends on which alignment you're following.
Okay, so I said 70, so tell me I'm
Close
right.
enough.
All right, I just said just off mile marker 70 of Route 66. And Sarah, you've been, I couldn't do this show without you and Jim. It just, you bring so much. You've always got something exciting to say, and you're always involved with something exciting. I want to talk to you about the Hotel Beale and what's going on there. There's some big news happening, and we could go through the whole story of Hotel Beale. Why is it called Andy Devine Road? There is so much just in the 4 blocks from where we're sitting.
Yeah.
What's the big news? What's going on?
Okay, so this is really exciting news, and I think for our community, it's been a long time coming, and so we're really, really excited. And really for us, we just wanted to kind of get the ball rolling a little. So Kingman Main Street has partnered with the Henderson family. Their mother, Teddy Ranchetti, owned Hotel Beale.
Okay.
And so they own Hotel Beale. Teddy passed. And she was she was actually one of the first people to start Kingman Main Street, the original Kingman Main Street, years and years ago. And then I think it kind of stopped for a little while, and then we started it back up. So I think that was one of the reasons the family was so willing to partner with us.
Right.
And so we're really keeping that in mind, and we'll probably do some type of special memorial to Teddy. But the big news...
That wasn't the big news.
is that we are partnering to renovate actually restore the facade of the Hotel Beale. So we are working with some prestigious historical architects. Bill Otwell, he's pretty famous around here. He worked on the Powerhouse. He also has done a lot of really amazing historic buildings in Prescott. And he's won awards, and so we're so fortunate to be working with him. We're also working with Johnny Stewart at Michael Taylor Architects, and so Bill Otwell is the consultant. He's coming out of retirement to work
on this project.
On the facade, yeah. And so our hope is that we can restore the facade, and the great news is that Bill Otwell says it is in great condition, and a lot of projects, they have to kind of look at the time period and try to build something that would be accurate for that time period, but they could never bring it back to its original look.
Right.
The Hotel Beale is actually very much intact, and so it is going to be restored very similar to the historic photo that they're modeling it after.
You know what I noticed was Jim got access to parts of the Hotel Beale, and he was like a 12-year-old in a candy store. He every time he tells the story,
Yeah.
I got to see this, I got to see, did you know? And he would just continue on with this, with the Hotel Beale. So the Hotel Beale sign is still there.
Yes.
The facade is changing. And then if you go, which way am I going here? So north and south. But if you continue down the road, we have Tim and Lenore, who have spent tons of money.
Yes.
So you go from the Hotel Beale, they've got their ice cream shop called Scoops, and then they have Mud, which is a coffee shop, and then in between the two, the big news is that they're putting in for lack of better words, a trailer park motel.
Tin Can Alley.
Tin Can Alley. So that's some exciting news. So not only is Main Street, which you're a part of, really, if you have not been to Main Street in a year, it's not the same Main Street Kingman that it was a year ago. Whatever happened, that even all that construction craziness has come to life, and it's an entirely different street. New vendors, new businesses, and old businesses that got new looks. So that made things come together. What I want to do, I still want you on here, but we were trying to hook up with Ken Large, and we're running out of time here. So let me push the right button. Ken, are you on the line with us?
I am. Good morning.
How are you, sir?
Pretty good.
I am so happy you are part of the show. So I'm sorry we couldn't connect during the show as it was, and I'm glad you got online before we had to shut the show down. You've got some exciting news, and now I am excited because, and we have Smiley is here from the Pharaohs Car Club of Arizona. He was on earlier today talking about what they're doing. And if there's something that I can share with everybody, the Roy's sign in Amboy, California, was one of my biggest adventures of a 9-year-old. When you come out of nowhere and you see this giant sign in the middle of nowhere, it captivates a 9-year-old kid. I have been visiting Roy's in Amboy time and time again. Mary is sitting here and she's smiling. We must go by there. There was a time we were past there once a week. And one thing that I noticed, and I'm just going to tease it, Ken. I'm not going to give up all the news yet. How many car clubs go in and out of Roy's on their way to a car show? Whether they're going from California into Arizona, Arizona into California. And I love the idea. Ken, please share with everybody. I know it's on social media. You have a huge thing coming up.
So we have a car show coming up. It is, and I did send an invite to the Pharaohs again last night just in case, but it's sponsored by Kenny Earls. Kenny Earls Hot Rod Shop, and he's from the Time Traveler. He represents the Time Travelers Car Club in Kingman, and also the Arizona representation of West Coast Customs. Now, we're a month out still, but I'm pretty excited. We've got some really awesome things coming. We've got some art installations coming that are just, I'm like a little kid. I'm waiting. I'm ready like everybody else, and I know what it is. I want to tell everybody so badly, but I don't want to be a spoiler. We've got some cool eclectic mix of vendors, YouTubers, and different cars. And Kenny's bringing his grandpa's Munster's mobile laboratory car, which is one of my favorites.
This is exciting. Not only is it car shows that would just come and stop at Roy's and then move on, it's an actual car show at Roy's. That's what makes it fun. Now, how many cars are you expecting?
Well, I mean, we're a month out, but I think I've got 60 or 70 pre-registered and paid up already, so I'm expecting a pretty good turnout.
Now, what you have to do for me, Ken, if you don't mind, and I'm going to try to, I'm not asking for any swag here, but I have to get one of the T-shirts. So you have to pull one aside for me. I understand we can order it online. I understand you have a company that's putting that together for you, or you can pick it up at the car show.
People who have my cell phone number can just text me.
Yeah?
And let me know what size. Yeah.
Yeah. That's all right. I'm a 2X, so you just put me in that shirt, and I'll be the happiest guy ever. But I will buy it, by the way. I'm not asking for a freebie. Just I don't know if I'm going to get the chance to go online and order that. But you need to put one aside. Mary, what about you? You want a shirt? You bet. Yeah, she says yes, and I'd like to say she's extra small, but she'll look at me and say, "Oh, you're so sweet." What size shirt do you want, honey? Yeah, she said an XL her and a 2XL for me. And if you wouldn't mind penning that down on paper, we'll pay you when we get there. How's that?
Sounds good.
I'd love to brag about the first annual. And what's the official title of the car show?
Route 66 Cruising Car Show.
I can't wait. Again, it was a long time overdue to have that car show happen on that spot. If you wouldn't mind, for those that didn't catch on to what happened not too long ago, you've added a new stop and take a photo op in Amboy. Would you share that with people of how you recognized the person that brought the city back?
So It is. The artist John Tierney, who does this amazing, they call it giant cutout art, but it's essentially 3 big murals on billboards that are freestanding. One, the Route 66 shield, one that Roy's sign, and then the giant one in the center is Albert Okura himself, our founder, my boss Kyle's father, who passed away it's coming up on 2 years. He just was a great guy. A lot of us never thought about leaving the trades we worked in until we met him, and then we knew we were going with him. He just was a true monument to society, in my opinion. He just was the embodiment of the American dream and what kind of neighbors and people you want in your communities. He just had this tremendous sense of restoring things and bringing it back. Inclusive of everybody, just let everybody work on things that's their area of expertise, which I get it now. It's a good plan to have happy people doing the things that make them happy.
Correct. There's that old phrase, if you do what you like, you'll never work a day in your life.
That's it. And seeing somebody in their 70s show up in blue jeans and a T-shirt and work themselves, knowing that they have the ability to pay anybody to do anything they want to for them, but seeing them put in the work and the sweat and the effort themselves, it goes a long way to getting people to get in the trenches and work with them, I think. And I think it's great that we only have people in love with the town in Amboy.
There you go. Ken, I appreciate you taking the time to call us and give us an update on the March 1st. Website is visitamboy.com, correct?
Yep.
All right. We know where to find you. And you still have time. We're recording this show mid-February, so we're talking, they still have a couple of weeks if they catch the podcast or the vodcast to register their car, correct?
Yep.
Wonderful.
They can register day of.
Oh, wonderful.
The early flyers said it was going to be cash only. It's not. We can take cars. I realize there's guys out there that the internet isn't their best friend. They don't want to download and print something. It's easier if they can't do it. They can call us and I'll mail them one, and they can bring it filled out when they come. They can mail it back. We're willing to make it easy for the person that wants to come, not difficult.
Ken, we do appreciate that as well. And Mary and I, if you wouldn't mind, pass a big hug to Miss Nicole for us, wouldn't you?
Okay, you got it.
All right. Thank you, sir. You have a great day.
Thank you, Arizona Podcast.
All right. You're welcome. So for those that don't know, Arizona Podcast, we do make it out to the border of California, and we make it to the border and get into New Mexico. So, am I the only one, or Jim, can I say you're part of the same thing? Is that, Needles is actually part of Arizona, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose, but...
I don't know. So, Sarah, let's go back to where you were. I like to put him on the spot every chance I get. So we go back to the Hotel Beale.
Yes.
And now, let's talk funding,
Okay.
if I can. Is this public-based funding? Are you
Yes,
doing a crowdsource?
absolutely.
Is it are there grants going into this? How is this working to get the Hotel Beale back?
So one thing to know about Kingman Main Street is we're nonprofit and we're 100% volunteer based. So we don't have a single person paid on our team. We're all just really passionate about our downtown.
Right.
So this project is going to be solely community funded unless we have some partnerships with the city, which we're totally open to.
Right.
But we're also doing grant funding as well. The $25,000 that we got to pay the architects, that came from the Route 66 Association from Arizona grant that we received last year.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and our plans are almost in hand, so we're super close. We're really close to getting plans, and then we'll start the renovation. And I just wanted to say 2 things that are really exciting about it.
No, only one.
Only 2 more, because
Okay.
after we talked, I was like, oh shoot, I forgot that. So one thing is that we want the facade to be an interactive stop on our historic walking tour with Jim Hinckley.
With Jim Hinckley, yes.
Yes, so the windows we're really looking at, so it's going to be beautiful, restored back to the pine facade in the
nice.
front, and then it has these big gorgeous windows, and the only renovation that we want to do on the inside right now is we'd love to build some museum style displays.
Oh,
So
gotcha.
quality museum lighting, some pine, platforms, and so inside each window we hope to replicate the stores that were once there and have some beautiful signage and tell a little bit more of the story. So you'll be able
Wonderful.
to walk up, scan the QR code, hear Jim Hinckley tell the story of the history of this space. But the second thing that's really exciting is that we also would like to, and we're going to be applying for grants for this, and we're committed, is relight that historic Hotel Beale
I
neon
can't wait.
sign.
Yeah, that would be the clincher, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So and we are our fingers are crossed that we're pushing for the centennial. So how awesome would it be to flick those lights back on?
Well, count me in on being on site for the lighting of that.
Huge party.
Yeah.
Can you imagine July 4th, 2026, 250th anniversary of the United States, 100 years of Route 66, flip that switch.
There you go.
I have goose pimples.
I love the whole idea. And Sarah, you
Yeah.
are so exciting to talk to and just to share time with. I know that you have a passion for the city. The city has a passion for you, and we are definitely over time here. But Jim took me. I want to call it. Is it the sportsman? Is that correct? Which is like going back in time on itself. But the facade on that building is changing as well. So all of I want to call it Route 66, but it is East Annie Devine Road. And for those that are listening and wondering who Andy Devine is, just look it up on Google and you'll see the face and go, oh my, I know who that is. So you'll find out why they named him, or at least named the street after him. But when we say Devine or Main Street, it is Route 66. You guys are doing such a great job. Jim Hinckley, thanks for hanging out with us today. I'm glad I know you're a busy man. You texted me yesterday and said, listen, I have this appointment, but I'm going to make it by. And you always have an open mic.
Thank you.
At the Arizona Podcast. It doesn't matter where we are, just show up. And even if we don't have a mic, Mary will run over and put wires together. And if she can do the string with the two cans too. So that she's multi-talented. Mm-hmm. And Sarah, thank you so much. Now, more information on Main Street. Where do they find that? What is the website they can go to?
So we are KingmanMainStreet.com.
And they can do that. And you guys have when I was trying to put the calendar together, finding out there's always something happening on Main Street. What is it? You have Cruisin' Beale, which is a big event that happens all the time. You have Chillin' on Beale. And then there's always some First Friday, which is down on Main Street. So always something happening. So we invite people, if you're traveling Route 66, stop by in Kingman. There's always something to do. And I used to say, give Arizona a couple of days. Don't fly through Arizona thinking, I have to get to California if I'm going to see this. And I gave up on that. You need to give a week in Arizona. I say stay a couple of days in Winslow, in that area. Stay either in Williams or Winslow, and stay in Kingman for a couple of days and make little day trips, because there is so much to see. So, Jim, thank you so much. Sarah, thank you so much for being a part of this. We appreciate it. And we appreciate you, everyone, tuning in and being a part of what we do here at Arizona Podcast. And thanks for joining us. And we hope you'll help support us. Stop by our Send a Gift page at ArizonaPodcast.com. I want to take that time to say thank you and to the great group of people that are here, but most importantly, Brandon and his great staff here at Calico's Restaurant in Kingman. We appreciate it. We'll see you on the next podcast or vodcast at Arizona Podcast. Have a great day.
Program terminated. Thank you for listening to the Arizona Podcast. For more information on our podcasts, the people, places, events, or the sponsors heard, visit ArizonaPodcast.com. Available for download everywhere.